I want to welcome everyone to today's monthly meeting of the Rockland Sewer Commissioners. This meeting is being recorded for playback later on WRPS and YouTube. You're listening to those matters reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may or may not be discussed at the meeting. And all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. That'll take a motion to open the meeting.
Make a motion to open the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Mr. Hirschman's a yes. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of July 6th, July 25th, August 9th, and August 22nd.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Wait a minute, are you approving minutes from the working session?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the monthly meeting.
Yeah, but I want to get rid of that. We didn't do that this week.
All right,
They've been pushed off, so is that a problem?
Again, no, this is for the working session, not for the monthly meeting of the commissioners. And again, that's for July 6th, July 25th.
June 6th.
June, sorry. June 6th, July 25th, August 9th, and August 22nd. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And Mr. Evans, a yes.
what is that?
Those are the minutes.
You gotta go over there?
Administrative update, Robin?
I'm gonna fall asleep.
Administrative update is first? Okay. Did I have something? I do have something. I have a Wright Pierce invoice for $4809.47, and I'm a little bit confused where it's applied. I have a contract for $10,000 with Wright Pierce, and I was told that goes against the upper plant upgrade, but that's questionable. I'm not sure if it fits the criteria for ARPA, so I'm not sure where to charge that.
Well,
And
what that was
can we
for,
stick to that? Yeah, that's
what
for
that was
funding.
for was for the funding, the
Yes.
tag onto the contract to assist with the state federal funding.
Yes. I don't know if this is really going to be eligible for ARPA funding.
Okay, then.
My thought is we could use the superintendent's salary, because this is something the superintendent would be doing
That's fine
if
with
we
me.
had one.
That's fine with me, you're the
Okay.
financial guru.
That's
All right, so we're gonna do it under the superintendent.
Yes.
Alrighty.
I mean, yes, it's associated with the plant upgrade, but
Yep. No, I just keep it, the other one, deal with it, so you can keep it going.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. And then I don't have anything else with the upgrade, the update. I don't have any amendments, but I do have the AA drain layer to be approved. And that, it's a renewal. It's for Richard Mary Excavating out of Halifax. He supplied all of his documentation, his bond, his check, no references because it's a renewal.
I make a motion that we accept the drain layers renewal as read.
second?
I have a second, all in favor, Mr. DeRoss,
Yes.
Ms. Valley,
Yes.
Mr. Hitchens, a yes.
Can you spell that? Richard, what?
Mary Excavating, MERRY. Almost 3.0 passed. And that's all I have?
I take it there are no new connection requests, which is good.
None.
Okay, continuation of old business, Board of Selectmen update. Oh boy, I think the overall presentation of it, the subject matter was very in-depth. I try to give them absolutely all the information they needed or where we were at. There was a discussion on the overall upgrade could be done cheaper by certain parties. And I need to explain one more time that it's probably going to come out wrong, but at this point in time, we really don't care what the overall cost of the upgrade is. The Board of Sewer Commissioners, myself, needed a budgetary number to work to so we could set the user rates, and that's all that was for. The only price right now that looks like it's still not even firm is the phosphorus update. These items, this upgrade, is all going out to bid. So we are not going to know what the final costs are until the hard copy paperwork comes in. One of the selectmen doesn't seem to be able to grasp that. I don't know how else I can explain it. but other than we needed a figure to base the user rates on and for planning purposes. The contracts are going out to bid. To go down the road, they will even have an outside project manager to oversee those costs. Anyone who wants to will be able to bid on that when they go out. That's all I have to say on that.
Did you say going forward, we're gonna have an outside project manager?
Well, I think after the phosphorus, the major upgrades, we'll have an outside project manager.
So,
Because we're doing the phosphorus under a
we're talking about the tertiary system?
tertiary system, is being conducted under a contract amendment with Veolia, with Wright Pierce assisting, because of the deadline to the state. We presented that at one sewer commissioners meeting, I believe it was in February or March here, with Doug and Scott and Ms. Childs present. We presented it again at a Board of Selectmen meeting, all were in favor of it. That contract is in the process of execution. I'll go in.
That contract for the outside person?
No, for the phosphorus tertiary system.
Oh, okay.
Outside, when we go to an outside project manager, that will be when we get into the hard upgrades, stages 2, 3, and 4.
I just have one question about that, just to clarify. Will that be in place of, what if we got a superintendent? Does that?
No, still need an
Doesn't
outside,
matter?
still need an outside
Okay.
project manager.
All right.
For that kind of money, it's wise.
Okay.
The issue that seemed to be a bone of contention, which I imagine part of it would have been, was the moratorium. I want to go on record as stating I took it as an insult that they threatened to withhold ARPA funding from us because of that moratorium. That moratorium was released only as we as a board approved the content of that. It was still open for discussion. Maybe I didn't make that clear, but there was still no reason to have threatened this board with withholding funds. This board has worked too hard and did not deserve that in a public meeting.
Was that future ARPA funds or the current ARPA funds that
ARPA funds that are not
Current.
yet submitted, that are on hold, and that amount is $819,000.
What
I
was the
rec-
amount again, I'm sorry?
$819,778. I received an email today reiterating that, and it also had the following. Just at the top of the email. I'm going to give that to Rick. The part of the beginning of said they want us to retract Section 7 in its entirety, and that they would withhold future ARPA funds if we did not. Again, I took that as just a threat. That's not productive.
Retract section 7?
Where they want us to retract Section 7 in its entirety. The email further went on to say, in addition, as I mentioned at the meeting, we currently do not charge sewer department for any permits and/or inspection fees for the building, mechanical, sheet metal, plumbing, electrical, sprinkler, street openings, trenches, etc. We are not changing that policy at this time. However, we've reserved the right to revisit that should your current new moratorium connection policy remain unchanged as it relates to municipal connections. Let me know if you have any further questions, and we look forward to hearing back from you regarding a further updated moratorium. Thank you, Doug.
So section 7 must have been about,
Yeah, Section 7,
Concerns me.
hold on, I want to read it into the record Section 7 pertained to municipal connections. 7.1, I'll give this to Robert so you don't have to take that.
okay.
All new connections into the Rockland sewer system for municipal town use, new connections, will not be exempt from the conditions contained in this moratorium. The sewer maintenance and sewer engineering and I&I removal fees will be applied. That did not mean sewer user fees, just to pay for the I&I removal. 7.2, all municipal buildings that will be undergoing an upgrade, refurbishment, and/or reuse will be subject to a one-time only sewer maintenance, sewer engineering, and I&I removal fees applicable to new connections. Again, only to try to make money to capture I&I. 7.3, all municipal projects will be subject to the same criteria as all applicants for positioning on the approved projects or the waiting list. That was it, I'll give that to you later.
So that means future construction.
Yes.
Can I make a motion?
Okay, whoa, wait a minute, let me finish, please. I am not open to discussion of the conditions of the moratorium in today's meeting. I want each of you to reread them again and think long and hard. If you recall, we also considered putting sewer user fees on municipal buildings. The burden of that will fall on the residential users. Withholding the ARPA funds is also going to fall on the residential user fees because we need that money. We need to have that money for the upgrade, and we either get it through ARPA or we get it by further increasing their user rates. The only ones that are going to suffer in this whole thing are the users. So what I will entertain is a motion to retract the vote to release the moratorium pending further review. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Okay, motion to retract.
The motion is to retract the release only of the moratorium pending further review of section 7.
Motion to rescind the vote from last week.
Motion to rescind the vote
For section 6,
for section 7.
Yeah,
7 only.
Only.
Well,
Well,
I
it
don't think
pertains to
we
the
do that,
whole,
just,
it pertains to the whole moratorium,
Yeah,
so you might as
so
well say, it
rescind the
pertains to the
whole
whole
vote.
moratorium
and we will.
pending
revote
further
the whole
review
vote.
of section 7.
Can I make a
Well,
motion?
wait a minute. Let's have a discussion before another motion.
All right, so
Retract the
Sherry
vote.
made
Sure,
that.
go ahead. Sorry.
Make the motion to rescind the vote that approved the moratorium.
okay.
But I want a footnote in there pending further review of section 7 only. Go ahead, Dan.
Yes, I want to make a motion on the I&I, go from 6.5 to 15.
No, wait a minute. Well, that's what we got way ahead of us on the, focus on the moratorium.
Okay.
The second was, Sherry made the motion, do I have a second?
Dan seconded.
Oh, you did, okay.
Again, I'll take the vote. Mr. DeRoss, how do you
Yes.
vote? On rescinding the vote on the moratorium.
Yes, yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
And I am a yes, that's unanimous.
Okay.
We will discuss fees at a later date. I'm not open to adjusting the fees at this time. We'll look at them in September, and not April. We have enough on our plate. The only thing I'll say in this moratorium, I'm willing to compromise. I'm not willing to be threatened. So I want you to look real hard at that. The bottom line is no matter how we go, the residents will feel the burden. Okay, that's all I want to say on the moratorium. Review the waiting list with potential flow data. As I see it, the waiting list is still the same, that we have Concord, 320 Concord and 24 Manzella Court on the waiting list. I have not heard any further on Dwyer Street. 365 is in progress. Beechwood Estates, I'm still waiting on a reply to their letter that we sent them. Manzella and Concord, we'll get into with the
Was Concord first on that list? Concord,
yeah,
then
Concord is
Manzella?
first, then Manzella.
Thank you.
I'm very confident that with the next round of I&I, we're going to be able to accommodate those projects and maybe one more.
What number Concord? Because we have a couple.
320.
320 Concord
320, thank you.
and 24 Manzella Court.
320 and 24.
There should be no reason to hold them up.
Thank
What
you.
I would like to propose at our next working session is to get into the I&I
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Go
is to
ahead.
get into the I&I remediation account
Yep.
and use this as.
So you can update that later, I have that down here, we can discuss it if you want.
No, I want to do a deep dive and really
Okay.
figure it out.
Okay.
And you want to do that before,
Well, we'll talk about the next working session later on, because we got to set the agenda for that. Potential flow data, I mean, 12-month, Rick, jump in if I'm wrong, 12-month rolling average for flow discharge is still 2.7.
Correct.
We have not been below 2.5 in over 52 months for 12-month rolling average. I think I'm safe to say we're going to blow September.
Right now, we're averaging 2.4.
Well, this morning was 3.4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the monthly average right now.
Oh, okay,
So
so
we're,
that's good. No, that's without today.
yes.
And this weekend,
Yeah.
And out the weekend
Any future
storm.
rain.
the weekend is,
2.4 monthly average so far in September?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and 2.777,
So, yeah.
2.77.
It's at 2.70.
2.7 for August?
2.70 for the 12 months rolling in.
Oh.
Through August.
That's better than we previously were doing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, we're making a lot of it. You got to remember that they changed the permit in April, so that 4 months, 5 months data is helping us out, but the EPA and SDP looking at 12 months really rolling average. Moratorium discussion, we already been through that, we're going to table that. Again, as far as the flow, the only thing that's really going to screw us up is whatever Dwyer Street's going to do. I don't think we can put them on a holding list now. Their flow has been allocated.
Dyer Street was approved prior to the moratorium.
Yeah.
Didn't they abandon the project though?
The last I heard is that they filed Chapter 11 and abandoned it.
So if they do that, then they come off our waiting list, right?
But the flow has been allocated for that site. When they sell that site, that project, does the sewer permit go with it? Technically, they're connected. They're paid.
But
Oh, they paid, that's
Yeah,
right.
you have to consider all of, it's got to stay in the consideration.
But the other person,
Because the permit on the connection will go with the sale of the property.
Because he already paid for it.
Yep. Beechwood, again, I'm still waiting. Working session update, sure, you want to take that?
So our working session, we did have one working session where we interviewed a superintendent candidate. Decision is still pending.
I'm in the process of checking references now,
What did you say, interviewed one superintendent?
Yes.
and I'm in the process of checking his references now.
I had a couple of follow-ups from last week's meeting. I did look into procurement requirements for the 2 flow meters. We do need a written description and 3 quotes.
We
It
do.
doesn't have to go out to bid, but we need those quotes and then work from there.
Okay.
Last week, there was also a question concerning police detail expenses for this summer's I&I project,
Mhm.
and I did find the remaining postings, so the total was $36,318.
And we had budgeted 90,000. Now, here's a question I have for you. The upcoming I&I investigation, we should have had the quote today, we didn't, we will by tomorrow. That I&I investigations and the repair work will require police details. Can we use that funding for that? There'll be separate contracts,
I don't see why not.
not,
It was eligible for ARPA funding originally.
And
So
that
we
We
could-
was,
just have to go through the whole, the procurement process.
and it was also for I&I work, those
Yes.
police details.
okay, well, here's the thing. The procurement process will not be applied to the engineering services for the investigation. However, that's still going to require police details. The I&I repair, well, no, we could roll this under the repair. No, we can't. We could roll this under repair. We could possibly use that because it's the same.
Well, yes, my thought is that, yes, we can use the ARPA funds for the police detail. They were eligible originally.
I'm not
This is no
winking at you, I'm trying to get
different.
sun out.
Yeah, sure. And for the accounting update, I'm gonna give you some numbers on the I&I funds that are available. And then I would suggest that we sit down and really spell out, you know, which account we're using for what funds and what expenses we are expecting.
Okay.
But
Just so you
would
know, I
really-
have a good idea of numbers that
Right.
we'll use right up till fiscal year '25.
Yeah, okay, that's great. That's what I'm looking for, is just
Okay,
kind of
I have that.
estimates, and then we can
Can I
manage
ask
our
a question?
funds.
What do we mean when we say I&I investigations?
The metering project located, and I'll be getting into that a little bit, located a general areas of I&I
Oh,
infiltration.
Building.
What we have to do now with the investigation portion is to go in and identify the specific sources of the I&I,
Yeah, this is where we redetermine
if it's cost effective to
Yeah.
repair.
It's like a mini SSES.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
thank you.
And again, I'll go into this a little bit more, so keep on sharing.
Okay. Oh, that's it for the working sessions. And, you know, we canceled a couple meetings, skipped meetings.
Okay, you know, while we're at it, what would you like to see on the agenda for the working session? How do I lose a pen when I only one here?
Where'd you lose a pen? It's right there, next to your water bottle.
Drop your hand.
Sun glare.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we could please do a deep dive into the I&I remediation account. So I'd ask the commissioners to think about how they see that working.
This is what you already spoke about, right?
Yes.
This is the I&I remediation account contained in the moratorium. Correct?
Yes. This is the account that's going to guide us on
Right.
what we can start approving. And it will incorporate, my thought is going to incorporate wait list information.
Yeah, and available
Flow
flows.
availability, yeah. So really a deep dive so that we can structure some procedures.
Okay.
So the I&I investigation itself, we'll use the I&I remediation account to pay for that, but we'll use that other funds for the police section of it?
The I&I remediation account that I'm speaking of is not monetary. It's
Oh.
looking at our 11
It's
to
in the
1
moratorium.
ratio requirement. How much are we required to take out? How much using the I&I rehab work? How much have we taken out?
So these are the gallons that we
Yes.
recoup
Yes.
and can give out
So
again.
it's building the tracking system and record keeping.
What the EPA wants is if we go in and remove I&I, they want us to verify it rather than just
Yeah.
tell them, we removed 5 gallons. We gotta give proof that we removed it, the documentation.
Okay,
And then
so-
based on
Pretty
what's removed
Is what we can
how
allow to
we
give up
can
for flow.
start to approve the next project.
Okay. So when we do that manhole project, we actually get credits for that as well.
I sure
Yes.
would like to see that.
I
yes.
don't know where you find the credits,
I
but
don't either.
you get credits for those.
Yeah, that's part
So
of it.
whoever you're dealing with ought to be able to explain that,
I agree with you.
so that we don't
We should be
lose
getting
track of
some
those.
extra.
Yeah,
Also, with the, speaking about I&I funds and ARPA, I would like to set aside some time just for an ARPA discussion. Projects we have and so forth.
All right, I'm gonna keep the working session to those 2 items. We'll table the moratorium for later discussion. Where do we stand right now as far as accounting, as far as I&I, even if it's
So-
ballpark?
The accounting update, ballpark, 620,000
In I&I?
available in total.
those are gallons?
In total, no dollars.
Oh, we're back to dollars?
Back to dollars, yep, in total. That includes funds from the I&I ARPA account originally set up for the summer's project. It includes,
Okay, now, before you go there, we can, whatever we have over that, we can put towards continued I&I work?
this is what's available.
Okay,
So I've taken our account balances, I have deducted any, what I considered outstanding contract amounts that we will be paid in the future. And this is what's left. So,
And what
so for
account is this?
example, in that figure, I have already allowed for 150,000 the annual control year 2. That's already taken out here.
and that's
That's
already taken out.
correct.
Oh.
That's why I'd like to sit down and
Yes,
go into
please.
detail on this, so you understand what has been taken out and what we still
Oh, please,
need to
that'll be
think
the
about.
number one, that
I-
is such good news.
I have already taken out the $15,000 for the 2 flow meters. And I have-
18.
I took out 15, so we need to think up part of the discussion.
Okay.
And that's going through procurement.
So those two things are taken out?
Yes.
Anything else?
I also have I'm showing a balance on the contract for our I&I control plan year 1 of 39,000. That has also been taken out. That's the Weston Sampson contract.
You've done a remarkable job with that.
This 620, thank you. This 620 includes the fees projects have already paid in the amount of $351,000.
So we have 620,000 to go after I-9.
That's what it looks like to me.
That is without 320 Concord Street and without,
Manzella, they have
Manzella.
not paid. So that's an additional 39,000.
The Manzella, was that the duplex?
Yes,
The two bedrooms?
yes, 6 bedrooms. 2 units, 6 bedrooms.
No, that was, because that's over the 440. That one got approved?
yes. He's 660 in that one.
Did he have 2 projects? I thought he had a duplex.
He too, they're combined, weren't they?
Didn't he have a duplex that was 2?
That was 48 Carey Street that had the two.
Oh.
He had a single family he was doing, and then he wanted to do,
So, no, you're right, Manzella had 2. One was a single family,
yeah.
and one was this duplex.
And the duplex only had 2 and 2, I thought.
This duplex is board approved, but connection is pending on the road.
And that's 24 Manzella Court?
Yes,
Okay, and it's
It's-
660?
yes.
Oh, I just don't remember that. I thought it was 440.
Well, wait a minute, then he should be on the waiting list, because if it's 440, he should connect.
He's at 660 and he's on the waiting list.
Wait a minute, you just said he had 1
2 projects, single family,
or 2 bedrooms.
right. That's,
That got approved in 24 Manzella Court, we said is on the waiting list.
Right,
It's at
okay, I'm better, I
660.
know, okay.
Okay.
Yep, no, we're
The
good.
one that was approved was, it wasn't a duplex 2 and 2, it was a single family.
The single family, I believe. Yes, it was the single
Okay,
family,
all
you know,
right. I don't know
that's the
why.
one behind Kenny's house, you know, the one to the right.
Yeah, okay. For some reason, I thought he did a duplex 2 and 2, but you're right, I probably got it confused.
so, yeah, that's my accounting report.
That's awesome news.
All right, so
It's
I
very
just want to
encouraging.
reiterate with you, the 351K has already been paid out. You've reserved 150 for the annual control year 2, 39,000 for the balance of annual control year 1, and 15,000 for 2 flow meters. And so the balance available for the I&I ARPA account is 620,000.
For all ARPA funds. It's
All
all, yeah, no, take that, all I&I funding. Because we have ARPA funds, we have an article for I&I, and we have a budget line. So we have 3 accounts that we use.
Funding in ARPA,
ARPA,
yep,
we have a town meeting article that was approved.
the article,
Yeah.
article number,
21-41,
and
the line budget item.
in the line item.
So we have 3 accounts with I&I
Okay.
funds available,
Yep. and
Plus-
between- Yep,
plus the fees paid by development.
yep.
Outstanding news.
Oh, you included the development fees in that?
Yes.
We're gonna spend the development fees on I&I removal?
No, we've collected I&I fees. That's all. Not
Right,
development
okay,
fees,
the development is separate.
but yes.
So this
is just the
includes
I-9.
that,
So this includes, I'll tell you what it includes.
the revolving account.
Yes,
Okay, so there's 4 things in there then.
no, yes,
There's a line item for
Yes.
I&I, there's a
Yes.
revolving account for I&I, there's ARPA, and then there's the Article 21.
yes,
Those are all included, okay.
you got it.
Bottom line, it's great news. Come a long way, Nita.
I just want to make sure I captured it correctly, I got it now.
You do.
Get it?
That's it.
Good job.
Again.
Project updates. I want to jump ahead as I didn't have one, is the upgrade. We met this morning on the project upgrade. This copy of the minutes, Rick has a copy of the minutes. It was pretty intense. We went through, a lot of it was focused solely on the technical aspect of where we are on the phosphorus system. We're right down to the nitty gritty of getting ready to select the method. Now they're into the hydrology of it. Now people wonder why the cost can vacillate and fluctuate. The soil investigation removed potential groundwater contamination on the site with oils. The good sign is that there's no NAPL in it, meaning there's no, NAPL is non-aqueous phase liquid, a solid product, solid that adheres to the dirt. But there is going to be, during this project for the tertiary system, an added cost of groundwater treatment. That water cannot go back through our system because it could violate our NIPD's permit, but it will be trucked offsite.
So it
Just
already
say
goes-
that again.
But it already goes through our system,
Yeah,
right,
wait a
before it
minute,
even hits
yeah.
the
No,
tertiary?
no, no, this is groundwater. When they do the construction of the groundwater, when they do the
Oh.
construction of the site, they have to excavate.
And then
Because the water table is so high, they're gonna hit groundwater.
Yeah,
fill up the-
That groundwater is gonna be pumped out and treated.
okay.
It cannot go back into the system. I don't want it going into the system. We could trip our permit.
Okay, so how does it get treated if it doesn't go through
They
our
pump
system?
it, we're gonna look at it, some kind of groundwater pump and treat system on site. And the water that's discharged from that, they will put in a truck and take off site.
Okay, and that's only while they're doing construction
While
of
they're
the
doing
tertiary
construction.
system? Okay.
Because there is oil in the soil and other matter. The other downside is bedrock is pretty high and hit 12, which when they get into this construction may require some blasting, but it's very low level. But these are the things you run into as you get into the nitty gritty of the project. The other big thing that came up was now we're also at the point of funding. Now, what I learned today, that through the SRF funding through the state, there's a lot of lost time in that process because of the paperwork involved and the motions you got to go through. They didn't know whether or not we want to go through SRF funding or bond floor funding. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you could handle the finances out of that, how you want to go form your own group with that. I had sent an email to Doug to give him a heads up and to TC Jucheri on it.
All right.
Hans Tannenbaum will be leading that group for the finance and meeting with you to go over and explain the nitty gritty of both SRF versus bonds. If we get the extension on the phosphorus system, that may not come into play. The other day, we formally submitted a request to the EPA for an extension, a 4-year extension on the phosphorus deadline of April 1st, 2024, which should push us out to April 1st, 2028. I am extremely confident we'll get at least 2 years, maybe 3 out of that, which we should be able to meet.
That was for the tertiary system?
That's for tertiary system, yes.
4 years?
That's what I asked for.
Okay,
When you can't score on this, take a shot.
yep.
I'm confident we'll get at least 2, maybe possibly 3 out of it. So, I sent out that email to you and Hans and Doug, and Hans's email connection is on that.
Okay.
So you can feel free to call him, touch base with him, and see. He's free all next week. Doug said he'll make arrangements. It's just to kick off and formulate how do we want to progress, because we have to give them that information, because it has to go into future paperwork.
What
Give-
company
give
is
who?
on with?
Veolia.
Julia?
Give who that information?
Hmm?
Who are we giving this information to?
It'll be through Hans Tannenblum from Veolia.
Now, is that in regards to the meeting you're having next week? With
Yes.
Okay, so I talked, Hans would like to have it here. He said just,
Great.
that way he can explain it to Doug. You know,
Yes.
you're trying to do it on Zoom, it
Yeah, no, it's
doesn't come out the
better.
same.
I'm glad to hear that he can
Yeah,
come here.
no, he absolutely said.
And I
he's-
will absolutely coordinate that meeting.
I would love to sit on that, but I think it's a violation
Well, we have to.
of the open minutes, so that's why
Just have to-
that's why you have the.
Yeah, we'd have to put it
It's
as
not a
open.
violation if you put out an agenda for an open meeting.
Yeah, just schedule a meeting. And we'll dedicate it to that.
I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. I have some concerns, I'll share that with you.
All right.
Think about it, but I'm happy to coordinate that meeting.
Yeah, no, I
Yes, yes.
definitely need you to coordinate that, the finance. The next big one we're gonna have to get into is the process and logistics, but those are down the road. Right now, I would say that was a pretty intense
Yes.
meeting this morning.
It's just, in a nutshell, it's basically how you want to fund the project going
Yes.
forward. That's all you need to know. We'll go from there.
But there's
So
some big
what-
determinations in that.
Right, it's gonna require some
Yes.
So will
education and information.
Have a meeting next week here.
So will Kevin Olson participate because he's?
I don't think Kevin's going to. I think it's just gonna be Hans. What I wanna do is keep it simple.
Hans, Doug, myself.
Uh,
Scott's
No,
option.
I asked Scott, and I still left it open to Doug if you wanted the treasurer to come too.
Oh, okay. Good idea.
You know, get
Yep.
everyone involved up front, and then you can wean
You want
out
all
who.
the
So
players.
maybe Scott and Allison, you mean?
Yes,
Hans,
Allison, that was the other
Scott.
name.
So, anybody else?
That's all I can think of right now, unless you feel comfortable. That's
No, I'm
entirely your
comfortable
bailiwick.
putting this together. We don't need Kevin, don't need Adam.
And that was it on the upgrade. Again, the project upgrade, after the reason we did not go out to bid on the tertiaries, we were under the gun for the deadline, and we did it as a contract addendum, and all parties had approved that. All future contracts will be going out to bid, and everyone can bid on it. So we cannot pinpoint the number at this time. It
So
was
the
all-
tertiary went to Veolia?
Tertiary is going to be Veolia, a combination of Veolia and Roy Pierce.
Engineering. The engineering.
Engineering and design.
Engineering and design?
Right, the build will probably go out. I don't know how, I think the build is going out.
So that's Veolia and Wright Pierce, but the build will go out to bid.
I believe the build
Yes.
has to go out to bid.
Yeah, I think they want to talk to you on that. I think that's.
No, if you're going to talk about that, I prefer going out to bid, but we'll talk about it.
Yep.
So the I&I remediation project, I gave an update at the Board of Selectmen. We removed out of the 220,000 gallons that originally found. We feel that they successfully removed 113,800 gallons of I&I. That's good news.
When you say we, who did that?
That's the
Green Mountain.
Oh, yeah,
project.
that's right, thank you.
The 15-year metering, the year one metering project involved installing 15 meters around town, taking depth to groundwater readings and average rainfall. That was conducted in June, which, if everyone recalls, was a very heavy rain period, which on one side it was good, it shows where the I&I it is. On the bad side, it gave me a real education how many sump pumps are really out there. And that's a discussion for a later meeting. Now, with those areas that were identified, are those 15 areas. 7 of those areas account for 80% of the total INI, which is estimated at 1.52 million gallons a day.
1.52?
That's estimated. Again, that's influenced by some pumps and heavy rains. A realistic estimate they feel is between 900,000 to 750,000 gallons of INI. Now, how much of that is cost effective will be found out later.
I have a question. When you mention the sump pumps, what does that mean? Sump pumps or?
Some pumps are really inflow. I mean, they affect the flow because they get some.
No, I understand that, but the people aren't supposed to be putting sump pumps in.
But some of them
Are you
are.
saying they're going into the sewer?
Some of them are,
Okay.
yeah. They saw it. Of those 15 areas, we're going to focus on areas 6 and 11. Area 6 and 11 is from Ham South, down Ham Street to Webster Street, sprinting out in part of West Water. Area 11 is, you're going to love this one. Area 11 is from Reed's Pond, John Dunn Drive, part of Concord Street, which we knew is huge. The downside to that is they found that a lot of the downspouts, like from the, I still call it the plaza, and I think, I'm willing to bet, Rockland Place pumped right into, they're going into sewer. So that's going to be looked at, but they're going to evaluate that. Now, once they investigate area 6 and 11, they will be able to pinpoint the exact sources of the INI. That work is going to be done under an engineering scope of work that we should have tomorrow, and we should be able to pull the trigger on that work beginning the 1st of October.
Can we backtrack a minute? You mentioned Rockland Place, right? So they're pumping their...
We don't know. A lot of inflow, a lot of INI is coming from that area.
Right, and if you find out that they are,
Yes,
we have a big problem in that area already in the
Yeah.
back of that mall.
I know that, and this is going to help us find that.
Oh, okay.
But what we have to do, what this report, what this project will do, is identify the specific sources.
Right, so if we don't let them go into sewer,
Should eliminate a lot of INI. If it's going into sewer.
well, I mean, it's gonna pool in the street and in
Well,
that parking lot.
What we found out with this INI, it looks at this meter report, finds a general area.
Right,
We don't know how it's coming in or where it's coming in. Some
Right.
sources we could see, like some pumps you could see.
right,
Now it's going out with camera work in depth to those specific areas and finding out where it's coming from.
right. So what I'm saying is, assuming that that's true, and we find it and they've all been coming into sewer, and now where are we gonna divert that to? Is there drainage
We
in the area?
don't know too, that's way off until we find out where it's
Oh.
coming
There's a
from.
river behind there.
Yeah,
It could be coming anywhere.
yeah, because I just know we get calls on that area.
I know that, but this is why I wanted that area included.
Yeah,
I was originally gonna go with the area up by the school because that's another high area, but I wanted to get as much INI done expeditiously, and I didn't wanna deal with the school traffic, parents, kids, police
Yeah.
details.
plus the school is uphill, we're not. And
Right, but that down
below.
below the new school was a big hit.
Yeah.
Reed Street, Pacific Street, that. So let me keep
Okay.
focused where we
Alright,
are.
Sorry about that.
So areas 11 and 6 will be reviewed. Again, area 6 is South Ham Street, Ham South, past Hartswick Park entrance, down to Webster Street, springing out either direction, and part of West Water. That's area 6. Area 11 is from Reed's Pond, all of John Dunn Drive, and wherever that's coming in from, in part of Concord Street. That'll be done under an engineering services contract that does not have to go out to bid. All the work, the advanced work has been done. So now the next step is the investigation work, which is the camera work to go into those two areas, identify and isolate the sources that could be cost effective to remove. They're estimating that those two areas, we should be able to recover 120 to 170,000 gallons of I&I.
Wow.
That's what I was trying to get across if they gave me time, that the moratorium is just biding us time until we can capture enough I&I. But some people didn't want to hear it. So this is why we are making progress. You just have to bear with us and let us do it step by step. So the metering project, I'd like to take a vote today to release the summary reports for the I&I remediation and the one-year metering project,
The reports?
the final reports.
For
go on
I&I
this.
metering and what was the
The
second?
I&I remediation final report
Yeah,
and the year one metering project final report. I'd like a motion to release those and put them on the sewer department website.
I make the motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor to release those reports as read?
Yes.
Mr. Ross, yes. Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Mr. Hession's a yes.
and post on the website.
And post them on the website. Just as a footnote to the reason why South Weymouth Naval Air Station, the Union Point or whatever they're going by now, is looking for them.
Are you gonna mail them directly to them?
No, I'm going to direct them to the website.
All right, so
I have an email out to the parties involved, and I'll follow up with a phone call to them tomorrow.
all right, so if you give me those reports, I can post them.
I'll send them to you today. I hope you guys read them. Now, what I'm going to caution everybody in doing is do not think that all 800,000 gallons of I&I is out there and can be fixed. Some of it cannot be captured. Some of it's from inflow that are buildings and pavement and some pumps that have to be dealt with separately. It doesn't mean we can throw carte blanche open to all kinds of permit applications. We're going to stick to the moratorium and the structure we've created. We need at least a year to find out where we are.
Does the EPA also recognize that? When we say we've identified,
The EPA, I'm not even going to notify the EPA of that, because if you notify them, they ask questions. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to include those two reports in our November submittal.
okay,
That gives us time to get that investigation started and have an idea of where we are. I still need time to digest some of these numbers.
okay.
Now, the other thing to this metering report, it's also given us a pathway into next year's I&I control plan. Because now the next two I'd like to go over, I'm going to mess it up, area 9 and 13, but those are two other areas that need to go in and be investigated. We may have enough money to investigate those to get a jump on it, but I'm going to walk before we run. But this gives us, with those 15 meters, we've identified the heavy areas. Now we can go into those and pick them apart in a somewhat intelligent manner and budget accordingly. Current capacity, well, as of today, again, we've fluctuated between 3.4 and 3.4 today. I guess for the month we're at 2.4. Again, our 12-month rolling average is still at 2.71. 7-0.
That's the 12-month rolling,
Yeah.
did you say? Yeah.
2.4 is the September average right now. 2.70 is our 12-month daily average.
Okay.
The digester piping extension, everyone knows the digester boiler is done. The digester passed all the gas pressure testing. We sent the letter and all the certifications to the state licensing board on Tuesday. Today's Thursday, yes, Tuesday. And I'm waiting to hear back from Mr. Guider, who will give us the go-ahead to do that.
That was the extension of time for the gas?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, once we get that extension letter, that quote there for the rebid, for the whatever that is, Sherry,
Piping?
we could sign that and get Weston Sampson out to rebid that. I believe what scared everyone away was the short lead time. Either way, this project is going to come in at $500,000 or more. Rick, how is that?
Only?
Hmm?
For the piping only?
For the piping only. Well, let's put it this way, the last quotes came in from 470,000 and 470.8 to 512. I think we go out this time, we only had one bid because I believe of the deadlines we put in. We should get more bids and hopefully a more reasonable reply. Rick, how is that going to affect you now with the winter? Because let's be realistic, that's not going to be done this winter.
Correct. We'll be fine.
Okay, so we don't have to go with another $12,000 a month fuel bill.
No, as long as the state doesn't shut us off.
And I don't think they will, so that's a good thing.
So when are we, and I know this is a broad question, when do we hope to get started on?
I'm hoping to get the letter from them probably I'm going to give them to the end of next week.
No, the starting construction and signing contract.
I would say your construction is not going to start until probably April, March, April of next year. I'd say May.
Next spring.
Yeah, I'd say May. Most of this stuff has got a humongous lead time.
And that's just for the gas piping?
That's for the piping.
They can continue to do that while the digester, is
Yeah.
operating, so it's not gonna affect me at all.
So we don't have to shut anything down?
No,
That's correct.
All right.
Probably one of the biggest problems was, I think the engineers, what they give us a quote, which I like 250, it came in double.
yeah.
And that's what happened. Inflation, and it's quite a lot higher than we thought.
Well, the thing that's going to hurt us is the stainless requirement. That
Right.
stainless is going to absolutely, I've never seen anything jump up at it next to the sludge.
All right, not next week, but we'll have to visit that for budgeting.
Right, and like I said, I'm more focused right now on just getting the letter,
Mhm.
and then we can get the process going. But I'd say for now, we're gonna have to use what we received for the preliminary budgets for the range. Generator replacement. The generator, we went through some purchasing program that's state approved and qualified for opera. Sherry, I left that with you, and all we need is a purchase order to get it going.
Yes,
I'm actually working on it for you.
you're doing that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll have it tomorrow.
all right, super.
And we're gonna use that. ARPA funds for that?
Part of it's gonna
Yes.
be opera. Now, the generator, I just want to reiterate to people, it still has a 55-week lead time on the generator once we pull the trigger on that, and it's just the generator. But that generator will also be tied into the electrical upgrade in the tertiary phosphorus system as well.
It'll be tied into,
The tertiary system upgrade, because we need a full electrical upgrade either way.
So the electrical work is part of the upgrade?
The full electrical work is part of the stage with the $750,000.
Yes, the phase one.
so that's a,
Getting kind of... All right,
and that's a permanent generator, right?
That's permanent,
Back
yeah.
and forth,
That's
okay.
one permanent generator.
so the labor cost, once we purchase the generator, the labor cost to install it is,
ARPA,
needs to go to bid though.
right. That'll be, well, that is also going to be part of the bid package for the tertiary system, and we could break that out. I haven't even begun to write
Gonna
that.
have-
We can
yeah,
figure that
it's
out at a
getting-
later
yeah.
date.
That's fine,
That's,
it's getting messy, yep.
my mind
We'll-
can't
we'll
handle
fix
that right now.
Thank you, me neither.
Okay, the Spruce Street Pump Station bid. The scope of work was approved by the attorney, and Doug who helped me with the wording on that. We prepared the contract to save some money. To pat up this board on the back, they wanted $49,000 to write the scope of work. We did it ourselves. So that went to Doug today to be put up on, yesterday to be put up on Combis, and however it goes out.
All right, so Doug and Chuck wrote the scope together?
I wrote the scope. Doug helped me with the prevailing wage section. And Chris did the overall blessing.
Who's keeping the original document?
I say, I'm trying to think, I lost my train of thought or something. The scope will work on that. Oh, the way the scope reads now, there will be a site walkthrough, Rick, on October 10th for all prospective bidders. The contract will be due, the bids will be due October 26th.
When's it going out to bid? Who's doing that?
Doug is doing that.
Okay.
And we have the money allocated for that.
Yes.
And you,
That's
Rick,
one of the simple ones.
you don't know, but there was one thing I wanted to bring up to Rick, and I don't know why. When we did butternut, we had to go back for some reason. I remember that. We had to go back and do some other work on it.
Correct.
What was that?
We ended up changing the floats.
kidding.
So we,
Yes, it was the floats.
correct. So what when they come out to walk through, that's when I can hammer in the small details.
Okay,
And then, because at that point, the walkthrough, they won't have a bid yet. So they'll have 2 more weeks and they can put that in.
okay, but when they do that walkthrough, if you want to take them to butternut as well and say, we want to duplicate this,
I could, yeah.
Feel free to do
I
it.
actually will do that.
okay.
Good idea, John.
A site visit at Butternut?
Yeah. What I would like to do is I have what I did not include when I sent it to Doug was a signature page from the commissioners. To go into the bid. That's just this page here. Right there on the, I sent him this, I didn't have the signatures. You each had a copy of that in your mailbox about 3 weeks ago. Well, if I get that signed, I'll email that up to him to go with the bid spec. And that's all I have for that. But I don't know what the time frame is. Can they work on that during the winter?
Yeah, what they ended up doing, butternut, they put a sump pump down in the pit and they were able to work right along it.
Even in the winter?
Yep, yep. Because it's below grade, so it's not gonna freeze.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think that part.
Are they heated?
I'm sorry?
No.
They're not heated?
So, I'm thinking yes, maybe once the snow flies.
Well, the only thing I'm
maybe
worried
have
about,
some days.
the amount of alarms you get for that. How is construction on that gonna do?
So,
That's gonna really screw you
no,
up.
so what happened was, as part of the butternut project, the contractor, who was Weston Sampson, was responsible for the alarms.
Oh, really?
So they came to me, and then I called them a couple of times, 1, 2 in the morning. I said, hey, by the way, you got an alarm at butternut.
Yeah, but
Good night.
that's nothing like spruce.
It's not.
Spruce is gonna drive right through their right through the roof.
So, like I said, I think it would go well.
And Robin, so you're aware those bids are going to come through?
Huh?
Making Robin aware the bids are being...
Yes, the bids are coming, yes. They can just be sealed in that. With that, it's on to Rick.
All right, so we talked about the flow already. I'm anticipating, right as of right now, we should make September, but you never know with the rain that's coming down at any point. The biggest thing I wanted to talk about, as far as process control, the plant, it's running really well. No issues on that. It's just, like I've talked to everyone before, it's the maintenance. I just replaced a chlorine meter that was last installed with the previous permit, so we're talking about like 2006. It just stopped working, so we replaced that. Robin put that under R&M, so approximately $6,000. Then, since our last meeting, we I put out waste pump number 2. That needed to be all rebuilt. Just got that back. It's actually installed. The cost of that was approximately $9,400. Actually, it was $9,600. And
That was R&M as well.
that was R&M and all. And the next thing I'm working on, again, I'm trying to be frugal. I think you guys all know that. I do the best I can. The next system that I have to seriously look at is the DO probes. And I know Chuck said, you know, I literally had to buy a controller off of eBay. I mean, that's how bad it's getting out there. So I'm getting quotes right now, and right now the quotes, they're probably looking, I've got a couple of quotes anywhere between 20 grand to a high of 41, but I won't be in that range. So it's something I'm gonna have to, you know, I'm gonna try to put it off, it's probably to like next spring, you know, because I really don't want to do it right now.
You're gonna replace them.
Gonna have to replace all 6 of them probably.
And what's the name of the probes?
It's dissolved oxygen probes.
Deal.
Dissolved
DO.
ox- oh,
Yeah,
DO
DO.
probes.
So it's all the sensors, the controllers. I mean, they just beat up. It's, you know, they're outside. They're in the weather, and
They're older than dirt.
they're older than dirt. And now I called the base out of South Carolina, and just trying to get the new sensors. The price has gone up to $1,500 per sensor. I'm at the point right now, like, why do I want to spend that kind of money
No,
on a
don't.
system that's that old?
Don't, because they're not ready to be replaced anyway, Rick.
Right, right. And then at the same point, my thinking is, once we do get into the tertiary system back there, or into the mixing system, we'll still be able to use these sensors. So it's not like we're buying them and then 3 years down the road, we throw them in the trash. No, we will continue to use it.
No, they'll go along and fit in with the upgrade.
The other item I put in, I also put in I think I talked about it last month, the DO. We put a DO probe at the effluent, right at the steps. The permit for the town has to have a minimum 7.4 milligrams per liter in the summer months. I believe it's May through September 30th, so through next week. Typically, we would go out there once a day, lab operator goes out there, takes it, gets an instantaneous reading. With part of this upgrade, we know we're going to struggle with some of the DO, so I decided to buy a meter that's going to run continuously. So it is working right now. I just have to get the SCADA team in to put it to our screen, and then I'll be able to monitor that actually year round. You know, not that we don't really have a permit, like I said, effective October 1st, but it'll be good to track, see what type of DOs we are getting. And again, if anybody said, you know, the state EPA says, well, what's your DO? Look, this is what it is at 2 in the morning versus, 11 in the morning or 1 p.m. So I think that was, I believe, Robin, I think that was right around 5K. Seems like 5K seems to be the number now.
Is that gonna be R&M as well?
We already took care of that.
Oh, Veolia?
Yeah,
Veolia.
yeah, we took care of that one already. So, like I said, that's the biggest thing is, again, and I know Chuck's talked about it, and we've talked about it at these meetings, that the plant, again, we're doing the best we can. We're putting in new equipment when it, without, when it becomes necessary. I mean, I gotta keep the plant running. I can't say like, well, again, obviously you guys all know that I wanna, see this major upgrade here. And we're taking it in small doses. Tertiary system will be next, and like Chuck said, the electrical will be part of that, and then, my hopes would be to flip those two to do the mixer instead of the headworks at this time.
Well, you could, Rick, that schedule.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to put out something.
Yeah.
How you wanna flip it is your call.
Yeah. No.
The one thing I did wanna ask you about are the blankets. Didn't we have a problem with them, with high water?
Which the
Influent.
influent? No, typically, I have issues when we have high flows. We have issues in the backside.
Okay.
So what happens is, again, if the flows, this facility is designed for 2.5 NGD. So when I get up to 5, which like I told the board before, we can treat 5, but your detention time is cut in half of what the facility is designed for. So typically you keep a blanket, final blankets, I like to keep them around 2 to 3 feet. Well, when you get all that rain and it comes in through the facility, the mixers stop backing up, so it can't get into the clarifiers fast enough, and the next thing you know, we're running 8, 9, 10 feet blankets. Again, it's all, if we can control the flow, with all the I&I work that's being done, it
All right.
helps the process.
I didn't mean to get you off of that.
No, that's fine.
When we had that rain, I don't know why that
Yeah,
jumped in.
yeah.
How you doing for staffing?
Staffing, we're fully staffed. Right now, I've got a couple of guys studying to take their exams. Nothing else. That's really about it. Everything's, like I said, right now, going forward, checking out. We're in meetings now trying to determine, what the best product is for the town for the tertiary system. So we've kind of narrowed it down to 3, and we've got more people coming in, so,
Every one of them has its pros and cons. I think we dropped one out.
Yeah. I've been sending samples to them left and right. Like, okay, you want more samples? There's more samples. So we're getting close.
There's going to be a tricky deal, but
It is. There's all different ways that you can go.
okay.
That's all I have.
With that, I'm
Can I
sorry.
have one more question? That's
Sure.
the DO probe at the effluent meter that you're tying into the SCADA system?
Yeah,
Is that a requirement for any of the permits, or you're just doing that to capture the data?
Correct. Capture the data.
Okay, but it's not required?
No, the EPA, and our permit says you'll do it once per day, 7 days per week.
Oh, so it is required?
Yes.
It's required, but it's not a reporting.
Right,
One
right.
time
It's,
per
well, it's
day.
reported, but it's
Oh,
only
it
once
is?
per, yeah, it's once per day. But what I'm doing now is I'm gonna be able to see the DO any time of the day.
Yeah, I didn't think it needed to be.
Yeah, and with that also, that will actually help me with, like on weekends, if I have something that's being measured 24/7, I'll avoid having someone in the lab, because right now, the lab work is decreased tremendously in the lab, on weekends.
So if the
Okay,
EPA,
what-
re-
Go ahead.
if the EPA requires it one time per day for you to take the readings, do you have to report them somewhere?
We do, we report them in the.
I see, I didn't
in the
think it
amount.
needed to
Yeah.
be
In
reported.
the what?
On the EPA website.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, they look at that number. It's a minimum 7.4. And actually, last month, I believe we were like 7.4, 7.5. So we struggle a little bit, because what happens is the summertime, the water is a lot warmer, and dissolved oxygen depletes. And
If I may, I don't know, since you're staff fully, and I know I'm burdening you, but if you could reach out to Dave Taylor and ask him about the manhole work on Beach and Spring. If Gary could assist them, if Gary's not comfortable with it, I'll do it. Just give me a call. I think it's just the manholes, whether they should be replaced or not.
Oh, yes, I recall.
I was gonna do that, it slipped my mind getting ready for the Board of Selectmen, the other thing.
What was the other beach and what? Sorry? Beach-
Spring?
Spring, okay.
Didn't we have a list of those?
Yeah.
We did.
I think hey, by the way, mentioning Beach and Spring, was coming down when I left here. Earlier today, I went down Spring Street. Have you been up there yet today?
I have not.
Tree limb that came down, ripped out all the wires to the house, one house,
Oh, no.
took a solar panel and choo! All right,
Can I
well,
ask
I'd like to
just-
now get into the public forum portion. Any of the public attending, they would like a question? Good.
Can
With
I ask
that,
a quick question
Sure.
on manholes there? I know you've told me before, but Hingham Street, is that state?
there was a manhole on Hingham Street that turned out was not sewer. It was at the corner of Pond and,
They
Hang
did a
However,
last,
there is a manhole there
and
that's
they
Oh, yeah.
replaced it.
they did a
It
last
was a
night.
National Grid manhole.
last night.
They filled with asphalt.
Oh, good.
They didn't fix it, just
The
filled with
holes were
asphalt.
getting really deep on it.
Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to end today's meeting.
I make the motion.
Do I have a second? Sherry just wants to keep going. Keep going.
Second.
All in favor, Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Valley?
Yes.
Ms. Day?
I don't
Mr.
have a
Tishman's a
vote.
yes.